Okay, so it's been over a month since I did a video on the Beatles, and I apologize. Again, like I said in my last David Bowie video, I've been trying to reach out and like go to more bands and stuff like that, make more different content, but finally I am returning to the Beatles videos. Technically, we only have this one, we have Help, and then we have Magical Mystery Tour, and we also do have Yellow Submarine. If you want to see a video on that, tell me in the comments down below, because I'm still debating if I'm going to, and then I will go into their solo careers. I probably won't cover every single album, because I know they all have a bunch, because it's 4 of them, and 4 solo careers is a lot. But today we're talking about Beatles for Sale, and this is known as the weakest Beatles album, and I think that's part of the reason it's taking me so long to make the video, is because I just don't want to say like I have a real least favorite Beatles album, but I also don't think this album's gonna be bad, because it's the Beatles, who's like the biggest band of all time. So I'm not saying I heard the album is bad, I just heard that it's kind of the most meh out of all the Beatles albums, but I do still think it's good. I know that one big song on here is 8 Days a Week, and it's like the one Starr here, and it's one that a lot of people love. I don't know if I recognize it, I probably will when it starts playing, but I know that this one kind of falls back into more covers, and A Hard Day's Night, the last one that I listened to, is amazing. Like, I'm talking top 5 Beatles for me right now. Like, I like it more than the White Album right now. That's how much I like it, and it even battles with Revolver. And I will listen to all the albums fully to rank them whenever I'm done with this, but I do listen to a bunch of them a lot on their own. I've probably listened to Abbey Road, Rubber Soul, especially like 30 times on their own. And then I've listened to most of the other ones a lot, but this one seems exciting. There's all the editor's notes. I already read them. They're kind of interesting. That's how I knew about the covers. It came out in 1964. There are 14 tracks plus a little 4-minute documentary. The album is 38 minutes, more like 34 minutes if we take away the documentary. And the 10 tracks are No Reply, I'm a Loser, Babies in Black, Rock and Roll Music, I'll Follow the Sun, Mr. Moonlight, Kansas City / Hey 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 Hey, 8 Days a Week, Words of Love, Honey Don't, Every Little Thing, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, What You're Doing, Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, and then of course the documentary we have there at the end. I'm excited. I think this is still going to be a good album. Like, even if it's the weakest one, I still think it's going to be good, so I will be back in about 38 minutes. Alright, so that was Beatles for Sale, and I still don't have a like solid least favorite Beatles album. This album was actually better than I expected, but that's also because I went in with low expectations, and I know, you can't go into a Beatles album with low expectations, but when you're always hearing that an album is the worst of the band's career, then you're like, oh, okay, I may not like this as much. Nope, this album was really great. Also, I find it ironic that I'm wearing a Motley Crue shirt and they covered Helter Skelter on Shout at the Devil. I just think that's funny, but this album was really, really good. I think I liked almost all, if not all, the songs on it, and it definitely flew by. Like, it's one of the faster ones, and yes, it is on the weaker end. It's in the same pool as Please Please Me and with the Beatles. Like, it kind of feels like these 3 are like the beginning, because as I said before, I think that A Hard Day's Night is just like really high up. I just think that album is an absolute 5 out of 5, and this one was still really, really good. And also Apple Music kind of added this whole like looseless audio thing. There's some Dolby Atmos. I know Abbey Road's in Dolby Atmos, so I'm gonna listen to that tonight. I'm excited. I've listened to the album a million times, but I'm gonna do that again. And this album I know wasn't in Dolby Atmos, but it did say that it was that looseless thing. I'll show it on the screen when I do go through the track list, but it did sound really, really good. I mean, every Beatles album sounds good because, you know, they're one of the best bands of all time, if not the best. And there were some things that really stood out to me, but let's jump into that set list. This is what I mean here. It says looseless and Apple Digital Master, so they definitely did some work to it, or I think preserved like the original recordings. But let's talk about the tracks here. I think they were all, I think, really, really good. No Reply starts off, and this one's one of my favorites on the album. I thought it was really strong, really kind of, again, set the tone for the opening of the album. And I say that a lot in videos, but that's what you need. You need to open the album with a song that really like gets you in the feel of the rest of them. As my AirPods are dying, and just did the dun, 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 dun. And then I'm a Loser I thought was also really, really good. This one was Paul McCartney and John, like a Lennon McCartney track, and I thought it was kind of emotional. Like, I related to it in a way, like not to feel depressing, but I did relate to it in a way, and I thought it was pretty special. I am gonna listen to almost all these songs again, like even on a playlist. Babies in Black was also pretty good. It wasn't like top tier or anything, but I still think it was pretty good. It was pretty short, 2 minutes and 4 seconds, and then Rock and Roll Music. might have been my favorite on the album. I think that it was just awesome. It's a Chuck Berry cover. It said that it was written by Chuck Berry, and it is just awesome. The amount of energy, everything into it. This is proof why I love rock, and even back in 1964, you know, they're talking about loving rock and roll music. This song perfectly represents it. I think it might be my favorite one on the album, and then it like slows down and goes into I'll Follow the Sun, which I do want to learn on guitar because it doesn't seem that difficult, and it's only a minute and 48 seconds, but it was a good song. The tone definitely changed between these two songs, and then it goes into Mr. Moonlight, and I love just the opening vocals on here. They're really strong, really awesome, and then I want to know who sings Kansas City / Hey 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 Hey, because I don't think it was John or Paul. It might have been George. I don't think it was Ringo. I doubt it was Ringo, but it could have been George. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Really good song. The ending where it kind of went into the whole hey 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 part was really interesting, and then it goes into the big song from the album, 8 Days a Week, and I think this is easily one of the best of their early work, easily one of the best of the album as well. It's probably my second favorite behind Rock and Roll Music, but it does battle for my favorite. It was a really good song and really sticks in your head. I think it's the song that really stuck with me the most, and this song, Words of Love, I don't really have much to say about it. It's one of those that's maybe a little bit forgettable, but that is also probably because it's between 8 Days a Week and Honey Don't, which I really like. I just like the way it felt like a live performance captured in the studio, if that makes sense. But I say that because John's like, George, rock one time for me or something, and then he says, oh yeah, George, rock one time for Ringo, like the whole time, and it's really interesting. I have to go to work in a few minutes, so that's why it's a little bit faster than normal, and the tracks are shorter. This one was great, like in my top 5 of it, and then Every Little Thing was good. Again, one of the shorter ones, I think the second shortest on this album. Good song, and then I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, I really enjoyed. It was a cover. I accidentally liked it there. I don't know why I don't like the songs on here, like actually heart them, but it was a good song, good cover. It went on, it felt like a lot longer than 2 minutes and 34 seconds, and then What You're Doing uses a lot of repetition. I mean, a lot of their early work does. A lot of the music I find from the 60s and like even some of the early 70s uses a lot of repetition, and this one definitely does. And then Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, great closer here. This album was really, really good. Honestly, there were a few times where maybe the tracks aren't as good as like the ones that came before them or after them, but that is how albums work. I think overall it was a really good album. I don't know if it's my least favorite one. I don't know if I liked it more or less than Please Please Me or with the Beatles or whatever. I guess I will see when I listen to them over and over again. And I feel like my opinions will always change. But what is your favorite track on this album? Please tell me in the comments down below. Where does this rank amongst the other Beatles albums? And thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.